So now we will train the circle step with the lattice, because yeah, maybe it's a little bit boring to go all the time forward, backward and sideward. So now we can use this tool to train a big circle step. And I don't mean the little steps you are doing, yeah, to create a better angle in the fight dynamics. I mean a big circle step, yeah, when, for example, somebody is overrunning you, or it is a part of your combination, yeah, so you can also attack with that. Because yeah, the goal of the circle step is to have control of your opponent sidely. So in this position, the opponent has not so many weapons as you to fight back. You can do everything. You can also sweep, yeah? You can also throw. So your opponent has to turn around first, yeah, to get all the weapons back. Yeah. So this is a big advantage to train the circle step, and especially, for example, when your opponent has another stance. For example, when you are orthodox and your opponent is southpaw, that is a good tool to have in your combination, yeah, to get better control of your opponent. So let's start. Check also out the last technique tutorial video of Stella, where she is combining the roll under with a circle step. And I also recommend strongly to watch the Shadowbox video with Björn, where he is circling out in 3 different distances. If you missed to watch part 1, how to train with the lattice, I recommend to watch it before you are watching this video. But here again, we have a lattice with 9 fields. You can have also 6 fields. But today for the circle step, only the 4 fields are important, because within these 4 fields we are doing our circle steps. Just a note, I will show you the basic steps mainly in southpaw. So here I'm combining forward and backward steps with the lattice, and then I'm going with the front step and circling out, and make sure that my back leg is again diagonal in the field. So this is a really close circle step. We are going really closely into the opponent, but have control sidely. As you see, by doing the circle step, you are also loading up, you are preparing your counter strike. This is the focus of the video. And here again the basic steps. Now for the orthodox stance. So you have to drill your foot movement in the other direction. And again, by doing the circle step, also focus now on loading up your hips to prepare your counter strike. For warming up and getting familiar with this loading up, you can also overdo this movement as I do here. Make sure that after the front circle step, your back foot stays only with the ball on the ground and pivots. So there comes the energy for your counter strike.
You can also start the circle step with your back foot. Therefore, you cross with your back foot 2 fields forward and then circle out. To get back in my origin stance, I combine this footwork drill with a switch step. But you can also combine it with strikes or defense by doing a hook to come back to your origin stance. It's up to you. Here again, don't forget to focus on loading up your hips. After understanding the principle of loading up by a circle step, we can now start with strikes. So here I combine the circle step with the hook and the loading up with a punch. To stay flexible on your back foot after circling is especially important for counter-strike with kicks. In this case, you have to manage your weight shift to continue with your counter-strikes. There is a second variation to counter-strike with punches, with the steps. So you don't have to load up so hard as we did it before if you want to punch. As you see, you can also punch when your back foot follows your front foot in the circle step. So you're punching during the circle step and not after the circle step. We will focus now on variation 1. So we can counter strike now with the knee. So we have to focus on our weight shift after doing the circle step, combining with the hook. You can also vary with the hooks. If you like body hooks, feel free. As you see, the rib kick is now the answer after the circle step with the hook. And by training these different strikes, always imagine the side position of your opponent. So create senseful and realistic counterattacks. Because of different circumstances, like your opponent has a different stance, or your opponent is smaller or taller as you, so you can also vary in the distances by doing the circle step. Here I choose a wider distance, as you've seen, for example, also in the tutorial video of Stella and the Shadowboxing video of Björn. After getting familiar with the wider step, you can combine it with distance change. Here I choose, for example, going again in the clinch stance. Just drill everything you want and be flexible. Vary this wider distance also by loading up your hips. When you want to stay in the wide distance, you can counter strike, for example, with a front kick. If you want to reach out the close distance, you can also combine the circle step with your elbow. As before, choose senseful and realistic counter strikes after the elbow, so you can go in the clinch, doing knees, and force your opponent, for example, into the ropes. Drilling the circle step is also good for parrying the front kick. So when your opponent is doing a front kick, you can also train parrying and doing the circle step. So imagine that your opponent attacks you with a front kick and your answer is a circle step and counter strike. Here you see the punch. As you see, managing the weight shift, doing the circle step is really similar as we did it before with the hook. So don't forget to focus on loading up your hips. This loading up is especially for kicking important. As you practiced before the circle step by your back foot, you see here it's now important also by parrying the front kick to the other side. There is a big chance that your opponent doesn't like the clinch because of doing all the time the front kicks. So the clinch position might be then a good distance to counter strike. As in part 1 and as before, feel free to vary in the distances and drill different stances. Another important puzzle item in training the circle step, which is mostly often forgotten, is you want to train also to keep your opponent in the side position. So don't forget to integrate these fight dynamics in your shadowboxing, or you can do it as a drill exercise, but don't do it too long. It's your turn to combine the circle step in your shadowboxing. You can vary in your rhythm, yeah, just doing some fakes, or try to hide the circle step in your rhythm. One exercise in shadowboxing could be that you only focus on being explosive by doing the circle steps. And for sure in the following combinations after the circle step. So feel free to take a timer, and when it's beeping, you can drill your circle step.